Welcome to Canvas. I know that the checklist can seem a little overwhelming, so I'm going to walk you through the key components of the checklist to make this hopefully easier for you as we progress. So you have logged into Canvas, and the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and set up your information. So let's go over and click on the circle. Now for me, there's a picture there. For you, it's probably initials. But it's a circle. So we click on this, and the first thing we're going to do is look at the notifications. We click on the notifications and look at all of the information that's here. Notifications give you choices. So notify me right away, send daily summary, send weekly summary, don't send me anything. You have to set these the way you want them to be. Now they default to certain things, but you need to set them. It is also important that you remember that every individual has to set their notifications, which means that your students get to set theirs as well. If there is something that's really important to you and you want them to receive notifications on that, I strongly recommend that you have them set that up while they are in your class. Now, personally, just some warnings, you probably don't want to be notified every time there's a discussion post, every time something gets submitted. You probably don't want that to be notify me right away. You might want it to be send a daily summary. You might want it to be send a weekly summary. You might feel like, you know what, I can trust myself to go check that grade book, so I don't need to be notified at all. Just be aware that this is all going to come into your email. So I personally really like a daily summary and a weekly summary. And that's predominantly how I have mine set up. So at the end of the day, I get a notice that says these things occurred. And that's kind of a nice way to do it. So you can set it up that way. It's up to you. The next thing that you are going to look at will be your settings. You get to customize some things in here as well. So you can add an email address. You can arrange for text messages. If for some reason you really want to receive information from your students on your phone, you can go ahead and set that up there. I personally didn't do that, but you can. You put your full name in here, obviously, and that's for grading purposes. I really like on this that I get to set my display name. I like to be referred to as Mrs. Bontomasi, so Mrs. Bontomasi is what my students see. You're going to want to add a profile picture here. So all you have to do is click on this little pencil, and you can take a picture right from your webcam if you would like to do that. You can upload a picture, and so very simple. You choose a picture from a file that you have. I already have this picture, so I'm actually going to keep that picture. It works for me. But I click on that. I click open. I can move this around a little bit and crop it. And there we go. So now my students can see my face. With the calendar, you'll notice that all of my courses are here. So my information is in my calendar feed. I also want you to be aware of the fact that this is how it will look for students. Now, students can see that there are things here that are due, and that's wonderful. But I need you to be aware that they can see all of their classes at one time. So we go to the dashboard. The dashboard is a nice place, and you can move things around. So once you have courses, this will be published and unpublished courses. So these are courses I'm still working on, and I'll show you. I need to publish this current issues class. I haven't done it yet, so I'm going to publish it. It's very complicated. I'm going to click on this button, and it is going to be published, and now it moves up to the top. So I'm going to move things so they're in a better order for me. I can put things in whatever order I want, and you can do that, and your students can do that. So that is one of the ways that you can customize this. We need to create a new course, so we're going to start a new course. This is going to be our sample course, and here is my brand new course. The first thing I want to do is go into settings, and I want to customize this a little bit. I am going to choose an image, and I can upload something if I want, or I can let's choose something. So let's look for otters. Right. Who doesn't love otters? And let's go with this guy. He looks very serious. So there is the picture, and when my students look, that's what they will see. I can change the name. I can make this a blueprint course. That just means that it's like my master course. I teach the same thing. I think a lot of us teach the same thing from year to year. And so that blueprint course is really nice because I can just save it. And next year when I start my new course, I can just pull that information over. One of the other things that's nice about this is if I am teaching with someone else and we are teaching the same thing, if we have a blueprint course, so if a brand new teacher comes into your department and you already have a blueprint course for 9th grade U.S. history or 10th grade English lit, you can take that blueprint course and you can actually just share it. That's where we go with items that are shared with you. You can share it to that teacher and they already have a jumping off point. And I know we all probably remember starting to teach a class and you wanted to know, like, what am I supposed to teach? How do we do this? So just think about that as you design these courses, that they can be blueprint courses that you can share. Change your time, adjust the term. So this is going to be for Lamphere High School and it's going to be a semester course. I can put the dates in. So we're going to start August 26th and we're going to end in February. Well, January. So there we go. That is the end. I can say that students can only participate during those dates. I can restrict them from viewing the course after the end date, which I have it defaulted to. I can do a lot of different things here. Don't worry so much about anything else just yet. Enable course grading scheme will be more important, like once MyStar imports that over. So MyStar is going to populate a lot of that for us, is my understanding. Okay, I can put a description, and now I'm going to update my course. We may have gotten into the habit through Google, like I said, of not publishing things. So remember that you have to publish things, you have to save things here. Sections. I'm going to have more than 1 hour of this. So I know I'm going to teach it in first hour, and I'm going to teach it in my 6th hour. Think of sections. There are sections and there are groups, and they're different in Canvas. With sections, what I'm doing is if I'm teaching multiple courses of the same thing, I have some choices. I could actually go back to my dashboard. I could create a new class. I could create, like we did in Google Classroom, government first hour, government second hour, government third hour. Or I can simply have a U.S. government course, and with that I have sections, and I do the sections by hours, and that keeps my hours together. So when we do discussion boards or assignments, first hour stays together, second hour stays together. And then you can do subgroups within that. Let's look at our navigation. There are things you may not want your students to see all the time. Maybe you don't want them doing collaboration. I always remove the syllabus. I create a page for syllabus. I never let them see this syllabus, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Okay. Maybe I don't want them to see the people in their class. Maybe I don't want them to have that kind of information. So not that they would have information, anything confidential, but maybe I just don't want that. So now I've set up my navigation. As our Canvas program at Lamphere grows, we'll receive more apps, and it's worth going through and seeing if there's anything here that you think is really worthwhile. If there's an app that you use regularly that isn't here, please let the tech team know, because other apps can be added. So there is one app I'm going to show you right now because I think it's a really important thing to be aware of. It is called the Redirect app, and sometimes we have something that other people don't use that we really like, and we just want to keep it handy. So when you click on the Redirect app, be sure you change the name up top. If you don't, and you add a lot of redirect apps, what you're going to get on the side is a whole bunch of redirects. And then I use something called planbook.com, and that is the calendar that I use. I want this to show up in my navigation, so I like it to show up everywhere. I add the app. When I go back to my home page, because it takes just a second for this to process, when I go back, you'll notice that I now have Planbook on the left. So if my students go to Planbook, it will take them to this link. Now, ideally, we don't really want them clicking in and out, in and out, in and out. That's just cumbersome for them. But in this case, sometimes we have something we need them to get to, and this is an easy way for them to do that. So we click on that, and it will take them right to my plan book. Really easy. So that is the redirect tool, and it allows you to add those unique applications that maybe not everybody's using, so we don't have them uploaded into Canvas. Okay. So if we go along the side, there are several things here, and we'll go through a lot of these. So to start with, you don't really have a great homepage. It defaults to modules. Let's take a moment and discuss what is a module, what is a page. A module is a means of organizing your content, and within that module you can have pages, quizzes, assessments, projects, discussion boards, you name it, you can have it in there. Okay, and if we come over and you look at mine over here, and mine are all works in progress. They are not done. So when you come over to my modules, you can see that I have organized the AP class by theme. So here's Foundations of American Democracy, and I can even collapse that, which is nice, and then political and socialization, civil rights. It's nice because I also don't have to teach them in order. I can move them around as I see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and move Congress up here to number 3. It's really nice, just kind of a drag and drop option. Drop civil rights down here. Right, so I can move things around as I see fit. And because I do things thematically, that's my preference, that's how I have them organized. There are teachers who like to organize by theme. There are teachers who simply want to take each chapter of their book and do it that way. So you could say chapter 4, and your modules could be section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. That's an option for you. Like I said, I do theme. Some people do the actual chapter. Some people like to do it daily. If you teach a course where it might be easier to do things daily. I know a lot of elementary school teachers that use Canvas like to update it daily. So it's up to you how you set this up. And if you look in mine, you can see that I have an assignment. I have a lot of assignments here. I have a little quiz. I have a page. Right, so these are pages back here. So that's an assignment. So we go on student questionnaire, and that's something for them to do, right? And that's a Google form that is uploaded in there. So that's really nice because they can do that Google form, submit it, and it goes right into my SpeedGrader. And here is the chapter from the textbook that's uploaded right in there. That's an embedded link. So we'll look at how to do these things. Let's go over here. Module. So the first thing you want to do is create your module. And you can even lock it until a certain date, which is kind of nice if you want to do that. Now remember, that module is there just to organize content, so it doesn't really have anything in it. And then after that, everything you want to go in that module, you click over here. So I'm going to click that plus button. And let's say I want them to have a page. So I click on page. I don't have a page yet, so I'm going to type new page. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to type new page. I'm going to type in the page name, and we are going to call it, I don't know. We're going to call it page 1. Okay, I can indent or not indent, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll indent the next one. I'm not going to indent, so we'll add that. Now I want to see what's in this page. I click on it. Now I need to edit. Now I need to add some content to my page. I want to put some things in here, so I am going to embed a video. So I need a URL. One of the things to think about when you are doing this is that your classes, your classes are going to interact with you differently, and therefore your material needs to interact a little bit differently. So think about that. Think about including more videos, including more live things for them to look at. So I am going to grab this embed code. Just going to copy that embed code, get rid of that. And I am actually going to click right here. See this embed image? All I need to do right here is click on that. I'm embedding a video, so insert this media here. And the really neat thing is I've got 2 choices. I can click embed and literally cut and paste my code right in there, and it goes in there. I can also click on this HTML editor, and I can put the embed code in there. And what's kind of neat about that, right, so I just did that. It's the same video. If you look, it's in here twice. Okay, so you have two choices about how you want to do that. Clearly, I don't want two videos, so I will go ahead and I will get rid of one of those. And the easiest way for me is going to be to get rid of that HTML code. I save that, and that is my first page. Okay, so I go back to the module. Can't have a module with one thing. I'm going to add another page. And this time I am going to add a file. So it's a new file, and let's choose a file. There we go. That's actually a picture of Brody. So I had a picture of Brody. I always add Ramsey. And I want to indent that. So I'm going to indent it once, and I add that item. It's nice and easy, and you can see that there's a file. That paperclip says I've added something. Let's keep adding pages. I need to let me add another page, and this time, still a new page, and we're going to add a picture, right? So I go back to my page here. I want to edit that, and I want to add an image of some kind. So I can go to embed image. I can go and pull the URL. I can pull something out of my files if I wanted to, and I could choose a picture there. Right, there I am. Or I can go to Flickr, and I can pick something from Flickr. Let's see what they have for me. So let's grab this guy. He looks curious. I want to show you down here that it says alt text, and just a reminder that we may have students with visual impairments or other needs, and having that alternative text can help them out a little bit, so try to always remember to put something in there if you can think of it. Also, if you click on decorative image, what you're telling a screen reader is that it's not going to read it. So if you had a test reader, an automatic test reader, and it was reading this document, it would not stop and try to read Turtle. It would just skip over it because it's just decorative and it knows that. And then I save it. So I've added a couple of things here. Let's take a peek at that module. Okay. And let's go ahead and add a discussion board. Oh, I clicked on module. Didn't mean to do that. So now I'm going to add a discussion board. So I click on discussion, and it's a new discussion. And I definitely want to indent this. So I try to be consistent about this when I set my pages up. The discussions get indented so far, quizzes get indented so far, just to try to help my students see things more visually and more clearly. It helps them organize things in their mind. So we add that item. All right, so now here's my discussion board. I need to add to that because I made the space for it, but I have to create the discussion. I click Edit. And now I've got some choices. I can type something in here. I can include a link. I can include a video. I can come over here and I can include a file, something I already have, or an image. So I'm going to go into my files and I'm going to pull this meme. And I want them to answer a question about this. So I'm going to type the directions. I can assign it to all of the sections or one of the sections if that's what I want to do. I can allow threaded replies, which I usually do, so I allow them to talk to each other. I recommend, and this is just a personal recommendation, I never allow them to post until they've posted first. I always mark this, and they have to write something before they can see anybody else's reply. And I like to do that because, honestly, I think most of us at some point or another in college probably skimmed the discussion board to get the answer because we hadn't done the homework. And since we did that, I guess we take our lesson and we share it with our kids. It's up to you. That's just how I like to do it. You can put podcasts in here. You can allow the students to like it. You can make it a group discussion. You can limit who can talk about it. So you can actually say that I only want first hour to talk to first hour, but I can also make it so the first hour talks to all the other hours. It just depends on how large I want that discussion to be. And then I save and I publish that, and now there's a discussion there. All right, so if I go back to my module, I can see I've actually got several things going on here. It's kind of a nice thing. So one of the things that I need to do, and I'm going to show you part of why I tend to hide pages. So here's pages, and I only have the 2 pages. That's great. But if I come over here, you will see that I have many more pages. I click on View All Pages, and for students, this can be a little bit of a problem trying to find everything that they need to find. So sometimes I hide pages because they don't necessarily know whether they're looking at a page or a module or a discussion or an assignment unless they learn the codes. And honestly, the codes are pretty self-explanatory, but at the same time, I just choose to hide the pages. That's up to me. That's my choice. You go ahead and do what you want to do with that. Okay, so announcements. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. We look at announcements, click on announcements, and I can simply add an announcement. Again, same rules. Everything up here is really simple and never changes. And I can delay the posting. So let's say that I want to remind my students that there's a test on Friday, right? So quiz on Friday, remember to study for it. I can go ahead and do that, and then I can delay the posting so it goes up Thursday afternoon. I tend to use this a lot when I need them to bring something the next day. So don't forget to bring, kind of like a remind or whatever. I can allow users to comment on the announcement. I can allow students to like it so I know that they've seen it. So I do that, and then that's my announcement. When you set your modules up, think about how you want to do it. So once you've decided thematically or however else you want to do it, it's important that you are consistent. So for my courses, I'm going to start with my objectives, and that'll be the first page they see. This is what this is about. These are the objectives, right? Then the next page they're going to see in there is going to be, you need to know these terms. This is the key vocabulary that you need to know to be successful on this next test. Materials, here are your readings, here are your texts, here are videos, here are things that you need. Assignments, do this homework, watch this video, answer these questions, whatever that might be. Extra support, and then the assessment. And if you look at my class from last year and you look at my module, you'll see that I've got them kind of organized. Right, so here is my unit, like I said, and then they can see there's a quiz and there was a file and there's an assignment. So all of that's there for them. So the more you populate, the better this gets. So I said to you earlier that I always hide the syllabus from them. And the reason that I hide the syllabus is because every single thing that you put in there as an assignment comes up on the syllabus. That's really not a big deal, except that they're kids. And so let's say that you spent the weekend, you spent an hour on the weekend and you uploaded 5 assignments for the upcoming week. When they look, they see all 5 assignments. If you uploaded your assignments for the month, and once you have blueprint courses, these assignments are in there. So once those blueprint courses exist and you have 50 assignments in there, even though some of those assignments are just to read something or something simple, please remember that in the syllabus, they see all of them and they're kids, and it freaks them out. So I just hide it and create a page that actually has my course syllabus, because this syllabus is not what we're used to using in high school. It's more what we're used to receiving in college. Okay, so I'm going to hop into one of my older classes just to show you some things. If you click on courses, you can also click on all courses, and that'll be every course that I've got, and you can see whether it's an active course or not, so future enrollments, past enrollments. So if I take you into my fall government course, I want to go over the gradebook with you a little bit. Now, we're not going to do a lot with the gradebook at this point because, again, Canvas is going to give us some of that when it imports from MyStar. But when you click on grades, you'll see a couple different things. But let's look at some things you can do. You can sort it by hour, right? So I can change this, and I can sort by a different group of kids. I can do it by a single module. Maybe I just want to know how they did on that one module. So those are some of the things that are nice about it. But I really want to show you the features that I think are really fantastic. So there's something in here called SpeedGrader. So when you click on an assignment, right away you see these were the directions that I gave for the assignment. And I go to SpeedGrader, and I can see some things right away. I click on that, and I can see Okay? I have 95 students, and it started with the number 16. It started with number 16 because she didn't have a grade. It was late. So with SpeedGrader, it defaults, it's really kind of neat because it starts with the assignments that are missing. And here I can see that there are 70 out of 72 submissions graded. So I know that I have 2 things that I have to grade in here, which is nice. I click on SpeedGrader. I also know that I have 95 students and only 72 out of 95 are graded. That also means that I have that many missing assignments. SpeedGrader, if it's blank, starts with the first person. But what's nice about SpeedGrader is that student who didn't submit anything, if they didn't do it, they don't show up, which is nice. It's not really that they didn't do it, but that you can then look at them in a group later. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So we click on SpeedGrader and we go like that. Other things that you can do here, which I think are really important, we're going to need to interact with our students differently in the future, and we need to have better ways of communicating. So I can click here and I can click on this, and speech recognition is going to actually record everything that I say, and interestingly enough, usually without any errors, right? And then I stop it, and there it is, and I can submit that. So if that saves you time, maybe you know, you're tired, maybe you're trying to multitask. Another thing that's here, and I think is really important for me, sometimes I come off as a little gruff, and for students who haven't gotten to know me yet, my written feedback, they hear it in a different voice than they should, right? So I'm saying like, hey, this was really interesting. Please remember to focus on the assigned topic. And when I write that, they just take the negative out of there. But I have this option of clicking on this video here, right? And I can get rid of the webcam if I want to. I don't want them to have any video. And I can record the entire video. So I'm going to record audio feedback for them, or I can record a regular video for them. And I click on that. I click Finish. And then I save it. And by doing that, when this student gets their feedback on this grade, they're going to get this video from me. And so that's an option. It's nice for you to know that it's there. And sometimes I like to grade things anonymously. Sometimes I don't want to know which students wrote it, and because I can sort them by groups if I need to. So if I have students who are in a special needs category, I might have a separate rubric for them. I can put them in this category, but I can still keep them anonymous. So how do I make an anonymous assignment? Okay, I go back to my course, and I need to create an assignment. I click on assignment. I'm going to add an assignment. And we just call it extra. And one of the things, I can go down, here's my points. It's an online assignment. Unlimited attempts or limited attempts, group assignment, peer review. Graders cannot view student names. It's just, for me, it's a preference. I like to do that. It's kind of a neat thing to know it's there. You can make the assignments accessible by date. You can say you didn't turn it in on time, and then you just save it and you publish it. Okay? There's some things I really like about discussion boards when I have to grade discussion boards. So I go back over here to grades, click on grades, and let's take a look at that discussion board in the context of the grader. Here's that learning module, and I want to go ahead and grade it. I can set it all different ways, but I want to grade it with SpeedGrader. Here's the really nice thing about this. In a discussion board, I required them to make a post and respond to a post, and right away I can see both of those things right here. So everything this student wrote, I can see right here. And again, I can give my comments and I can go on just like that, and I can see, you know, this wasn't really worth any points. I have a rubric, I have expectations, and that doesn't meet them. So we need to set a home page. So I'm going to work in here because I have more pages so you can see things a little bit better. So I click on pages, and if I look at view all pages, okay, so here we are all on pages, and I need to remove this as my front page. So I click on the 3 dots and I remove this as my front page. Okay, and then I want to make something else my front page, but I actually don't see my front page here. So I am going to pop over to my AP government class, I am going to go down to my pages, and this is my home page, and I want this home page to go to all of my pages, and I'll just change the banner. So I'm going to go to all pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on these three dots here and see how this says copy to. I'm going to click on copy to, and I really need that to go to my fall government class, right? So I can actually see, I could send this to another teacher if I wanted to, which is kind of a nice feature. So maybe you're doing something with somebody. So I can send this to another teacher, but I'm going to go ahead and send this over here to my current issues class. And I'm going to copy that. And if I come into my dashboard, right, here's my current home page. I know I don't want that. I'm going to click on choose home page. That's the other way I can do this, right? I'm going to change this. I don't want this to be my home page anymore. I just sent over one. I want welcome home to be my home page. So I have to click here and remove this as my front page, and then I have to click here and use this as my front page. And now when my students come into the class, the first thing they're going to see, and clicked on home, and here it is. Here is my front page, which is really nice. So going back, let's look at a few other things that you might need. We did discussions. You need to search for a specific student. You're trying to find somebody and you can't find them. You think they're in first hour, you can look for them there. The nice thing is too, sometimes our students move after, so I get a student who was in first hour that's now in sixth hour. I can actually just drag and drop them into that hour if I need to, right? And they'll stay there, and that's really nice. So think about that with your people. Files, quizzes. So we need to add a quiz. Okay. I want to add this quiz. So plus, I can go classic quizzes, I can go new quizzes, however I want to do that. So let's do, call it quiz 1, same thing, set your points, assignments, display grade, external tool. I'm not going to use an external tool this time. They can do this as many times as they want, save and publish. And that quiz is there. I can add things from my banks if I need to. I can add outcomes. So if I need to add an outcome, I click on outcomes. Now, right now, we don't really have our outcomes loaded, so I'm not able to show you what I'd like to show you, but we're going to have outcomes. So if I come over here, let's go over a few things. We have outcomes and we have rubrics. So the outcome is probably what you're going to use to make your rubric. You can type your own outcome. Maybe you teach a really unique class and you need an outcome. I teach law, maybe I need an outcome on criminal forensic science and DNA, and it's not here. So I'm going to create that outcome. I'm going to type it in, and then I'll have it. What's nice is that you can import, so maybe you teach a class that, again, you have really unique outcomes that you want to use. But what will be available to us after they get uploaded is we click on Find, and what will be here is the standards for our courses will be here. So the Michigan Standards for Social Studies are going to be here. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and use these. So I'm going to grab a math standard from second grade, because that's what I'm good at. Measurement, and I just keep going until I get it. That's the standard that I want, and you will see that this is an outcome. So I am importing that outcome. That outcome exists for me now. Okay? Then I can go down to rubric. When I go to rubric, I can use a rubric that's already here, or I can add a rubric, and it's kind of a nice thing. So we're going to go with second grade math. Okay, and go to second grade math. I can find an outcome. So I'm going to grab that one. I need that one desperately. Now, it already gives me points, and that's really kind of a neat thing. But maybe they don't line up perfectly for me. So what I can do, like I know math uses a 4-point rubric, so I can add one here, And I can make that one 2. Oop, I added an extra one. Oh, 2, 3, and I need this one to be 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and change that. And now this rubric exists, which is really nice. So if I go back to that quiz that I just made, okay, and I grab this test quiz and I want to change it, I can click Edit. And one of the things that I can do, so great, I've made a rubric. Now what do I do with it? Well, now I'm just going to pop over here to Assignments, and I am going to select an assignment. So I will pick this artwork assignment here. I'm going to click on that. And I can add a rubric. So I click, and there is my rubric, and I can pick, so it defaulted to some rubric, but I really want that second grade math rubric. I just really need that. So then I use that rubric. Now, here's the really neat thing. I go to artwork and I go to SpeedGrader, and when I go to grade this, the rubric will be here. And because the rubric is here, I can actually do my grading. I can actually give the points right here. Right? And there we go. And that student is now graded. I can move this over so it's a little, normally I can move it over. There we go. Right. So I can move this over and I can see how they did. I can still leave them a comment. Right, so I can grade right in the rubric, and the really nice thing about being able to grade right in that rubric is that rubric remains, and because that rubric remains, when parents call and they want to know why grades occurred, you know, very often the kids have lost the rubric, or, you know, you graded it 3 weeks ago and nobody knows where the rubric is, and you can't remember why you took a point off, and here you'll be able to see exactly why you took that point off. So that's one of the really nice features about this. Okay, so collaborations, just a few final things. Collaborations are going to be something you do. I need to start a collaboration, and I can do this with Google Docs. Now, this will be really nice when our Google Docs are linked, but I can do this collaboration document. I can type it in. I can group the kids how I want them grouped. So I'm going to put Anaya. I'm going to try to put them in groups. There we go. I can assign it to individual people, right? There we go. I just have to click, right? And now there they are, right? I can put, if I had them in groups, if I clicked on groups, they would come up as groups, right? So if I did first hour, that just came up. And I can tell them to start collaborating. And they can work in that document, they can work in that Google Doc just the same way that they did in their Google Classroom. You can see everything, it's already there. You don't have to worry about, you know, you guys share it with me, share it with me, share it with me, because, you know, we all know that they forget to share. So collaborations are a way for them to work together. The last thing I want to go over with you is conferences. So conferences, this is one of the ways we can meet with students, especially if we want to meet with a small group or want to meet with maybe mom and dad, if we have to do something along these lines. So remember that you can record. The nice thing is you can record, but nobody else can record. Just keep in mind if you're recording that this is like having a dash cam in your car. So it's great that you've got it if somebody rear ends you, because then you've got the proof of that. But also that that dash cam is public. So if you rear end somebody, that is also proof that exists. The nice thing is once you've done this and you've invited everybody, you can keep a record of your concluded conferences, and that way you can include that in your data for things. Okay, so we need to import content, and you've got some choices. You can go over here to this. This is called Commons. So if you click on Commons, Commons is a really neat feature. It's a little like Teachers Pay Teachers without the pay part. So I don't know, you need inspiration, you are looking for something and you can't find it. I was looking for a primary source document the other day, and I could find it, but I couldn't find it in a format that I liked, and I was like, I wonder if it's here. So query box, compare the Federalists and Anti-Federalists, what are the details, I can see where it came from. Sometimes these are really detailed and sometimes there's not a lot of information here. I don't like that one, I don't want to keep it. Let's pick something else. And again, sometimes you are just looking for inspiration, right? That's all. You're just looking for some inspiration. I really want to import this module on Aztec mythology. It's been a really long time since I've taught mythology, and I taught a variety of things, but I usually didn't remember to teach Aztec mythology. All I have to do is click on Import, and I can import this into whichever class I want. So I am going to import this into my sample class. I'm going to click Import into Class. Now, fun facts, later on, if I want to remember what I imported, I can come back and I can see what I've imported. Okay, so that's an option. But I'm going to go back over here to my courses, and I need to go back to my sample course. And look at all that. Everything I could possibly want to know about the Aztecs and the Aztec calendar. So that Commons is really nice because I can import if I want to. It's also nice because I can share if I need to. So if I go back up here, and I can export this information also. So we have importing of the existing information. But if you go into your settings and you need to save this course for any reason, right, you can export the course content. So when you click on exporting the course content, you can actually create an export, and this is going to become a file that drops down to the bottom of my page here. Right, so it's working on that, and it will download it for me. So while it thinks, we are going to pop over here. The other thing that I can do is I can export this course content, but I can also share it to the Commons, and I can click on Share to Commons. Okay. When you share to the Commons, there are a couple things you're going to have to do. So do I want it to go to all of Lamphere schools? Do I want it just for me, right? It's just for me. I just need to find it later. All of Lamphere schools, so anybody with our link, however I want to do that. And then I type sample, but I want to be able to find it later, so I'm going to put sample Bonamasi, right? And then you've got to have a description. And you always have to have an image. I'm not sure why, but you have to have an image, so I always just pick something when it pops up. So there we go, and I'm going to share that. And then when I come into Commons, right, I go here and I want to search, I can simply type my name, and what I just shared to Commons, the sample should be here. Okay, and then if I don't want to keep it, I can delete it. So I have this one here that I meant to delete the other day. Right, and it's kind of neat too, because what did I share? Oh, look, it even tells me. So it's easy for me to delete it, but if I needed to, I could just type my name in there and it would pop up. So I hope that this has been helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.